Hi, my name is Emmy. You are listening to Are You Okay? And from the Media Factory in the south end of Burlington, Vermont, this is 99.3 FM, WBTV LP Burlington, streaming online at 993wbtv.org. We have a very special guest today on the show. I'm super excited. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you for having me. My name is Jessie Taylor. I'm a local musician in town.
And Jessie is here today. Obviously, we're going to talk through some of your music, but I am really wanting to sort of start a new mini-series on the show where we take one song from an artist and kind of go deeper into that song. And a lot of times I'll have guests on the show and we're talking a lot about, how they started out, sort of where they're going, a lot like broader. And one of the reasons why I created the show, why it's called Are You Okay? It really is because I like to get into really why we gravitate towards this like melancholy, sort of sad, emotional music. And I feel like there's no better way to do that than like actually discussing a song and why you wrote it and kind of how that came to be. So we will get to that, but I would love to just start to learn a little bit more about you as a musician. You have a band in town, but tell me, like, how did you start the band and like how did you start playing? Have you always played? Give me like your backstory spiel.
Okay. I'll try to make it like quasi brief.
It's like a loaded question. I'm like,
totally.
Really briefly describe how you got here.
Yeah. So I am from Maine. I have been singing forever. Like my parents have a bunch of fun little videos of very young me singing and dancing. And I pretty much sung throughout middle school, high school. I did district choir and all that kind of stuff. My parents really pushed me to learn instruments when I was a teenager, and I was just like not having it, which, now I'm like, why? Yeah. But whatever.
I feel the same way. Yeah. I like quit saxophone in the 6th grade. It's like my biggest regret of all time.
Alto sax.
Oh my God, that's what I play.
Yep. I got another one in my early 20s and I was like, maybe now that I'm an adult, I will want to practice.
Okay, nope. I love the saxophone. I like want it in all of my songs. Also, I kind of feel like the saxophone is like very queer coded. I'm like, how many people do I know who like played the alto saxophone who are like queer now? There has to be some overlap. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, please continue.
Well, maybe we should get alto saxophones and be like accountability.
Yes.
Sax buddies.
Yes. Yes. Let's do it. I'm so down. I'm sorry to our neighbors.
So yeah, I did not keep up with that. I learned piano very briefly, kind of a similar thing. Like I have like a very good like background information on like a lot of like acoustic guitar, piano, saxophone, totally. But I never really stuck with any of that until my early 20s. I wrote my first song when I was 21.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and it was on piano. I kind of like, I found this old keyboard in my parents' basement and I brought it back to Vermont and I just kind of tried dental hygiene school because all my friends were like getting degrees and I was like, maybe I need to like choose a path like that. And then I was like, hard no. Definitely don't want to do this. And that's when I really started like leaning into the music thing and songwriting. So did a couple years on piano. I had this like duo project for a little while. And then after that kind of dissipated, I was like, I really want to teach myself how to play guitar so I can accompany myself and like write songs that way.
Yeah.
So I think about the instruments as more of like a vehicle or like a vessel for the song to come.
Totally.
Whereas like, I feel like more of a songwriter and singer than an instrumentalist, but I think it's like, I guess, all encompassed by being a musician. But
do you feel like you write differently? Like, do you always write on guitar or do you always write on piano? And like, do you think that you write differently on either of those?
I think I definitely write differently, yes, on either. And for a long time, like, I started with piano, and then it started to feel stale. Like, I felt like I just got to a really, like, stagnant place, like a choppy place with, like, just playing the chords and not being able to do different things with, like, my left hand. So primarily now I write on guitar, although I do have a keyboard set up upstairs. So if I'm, like, feeling, like, very not creative on guitar, like, I'll just go mess around on the keyboard and try to write that way.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I was like joking. I've like just gone through this like emotional turmoil in the last month, and I was like, if I'm writing songs on the piano, like something is not
Are
going
you
well.
okay?
Yeah, no, the answer is no, and the only, like, well, not the only reason, but a sure way to tell is like, if I'm writing a ballad on the piano, like, someone get me to therapy. It's not looking good over here. No, that's really cool. And like, what would you describe as like your style of music, like your
Yeah. That is like one of my least favorite questions in these scenarios, to be honest.
Okay, should we just like scratch it from the record?
No.
Okay.
I think it's because, which I kind of forgot to get to the rest of your question about the backstory about how I started the band, but this kind of goes with that in oh no, I lost my train of thought.
Okay, we're talking genre of music, but
Genre,
you
yes.
hate that question,
Okay, yes,
and also
yes,
the
yes,
band
yes,
thing.
yes.
Yes.
Okay, so like when I'm by myself, it's more like singer-songwriter, like almost
Sure.
folk leaning.
Okay.
When I'm with the band, it's like indie rock with like
Sure.
some hints of punk and like pop even.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Great.
Very 90s influence with the full
Wow.
band for
Okay.
sure. So I think it's hard to say because it depends on if
Yeah.
I'm solo or
Do you have like
not.
a influence like for your solo music, and then like an influence for your band that you can think of?
I haven't really necessarily thought about it like that. But Carole King is definitely like a huge influence for me,
Love.
even though she's mainly writing on piano.
Yeah.
But like just like
In
the
general.
songwriting,
Yeah.
totally like prolific
Yeah.
woman songwriter.
I saw that like Broadway. She had like a Broadway.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Beautiful, right, or something like
Yeah.
that. Saw it.
nice.
Beautiful.
I
Cried.
wanted to see
Tears.
that. Yeah, and then like the band, I feel like is more like I love Courtney Barnett,
Okay.
like that kind of like lyrical, witty.
Yeah.
you know.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally. Really,
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we kind of know you and your general vibe style, do you want to talk about the song that you selected?
Yeah. Sure.
Let's just start like, it's called I Always Do, right?
Yes.
And do you want to just start by giving like a basic overview of what the song's about, and then we can kind of again get into more of like the nitty-gritty of it?
Sure. Yeah. So it's about a breakup. It is about a very significant breakup for me because it was the first like real long relationship I was in. Like we're talking like 8 years.
Whoa.
Like a lot of my adult life, and the last few years of it were like on and off, and like are we doing it, are we not doing it? And so this was like really like the end, you know, like we finally decided,
Yeah.
and like they were going to move across the country. So it felt very like
Ooh. It felt like
this
final.
is real.
Yeah.
And like even though we knew it was time, it was very hard to accept that it was time because that was so long.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
8 years.
yeah.
And did you like, I've got songs that I like write in a day. I've got songs that I work on for like a year and a half. Did it come to you slowly, all at once?
It was one of those all at once ones, which before this show, it kind of got me thinking about like the timeline of when
Yeah.
it was. So I actually went back in my
Oh my God, amazing.
825 voice memos.
Oh,
on my
I
phone.
can relate. You have no idea.
And I wrote it on August 6th, 2020.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was, I think there's like 2 or 3 takes.
Yeah.
So a lot of times for me, and I think some of my best songs happen this way, is that it's like more of a stream of consciousness process where I like hit record and I like am messing around with a chord progression. Eventually the melody comes. Sometimes it all comes together, which is amazing. But
Yeah.
not always. But it was definitely one of those songs that was like pretty much all there. So I will go back and listen and then like write down the lyrics that I sung and then like maybe edit a little bit from that. So I actually listened to like a video I posted on Instagram like the day after I wrote it.
Oh my gosh.
And there was like 2 or 3 lines that I had cut out.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, same but different.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool to hear.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I was doing that like not that long ago. I feel like I'm usually, I mean, sometimes I'll have a song that I'll like noodle on for a long time or something, but most of my songs are like stream of consciousness, because pretty much the only reason why I write music is just like as a catharsis to whatever is going on in my life. And I was like looking back at a song that I had like completely rewritten, but I was like going back through, I was like in the trenches in the voice memos, which like, I don't know about you, I've said this on the show so many times, but I'm like, like, if I die, like, throw the phone away. Throw the phone into the ocean. Those voice memos need to
really?
die
like,
with me.
I feel like somebody needs to go through mine. Like, I feel like there's
and
some
be
gems
like,
in there.
and, like, take them, and it could be, like, your post.
Yes.
Okay. Couldn't relate less. I'm, like, truly, if any, I would rather simply anything else of anything of mine be exposed, like, hang me out to dry. Like, I would rather my worst thoughts be publicized than anyone ever hear a single voice memo that I ever put into my phone, because it really is just like my stream of content, and that's not good. You know, it's not great. But that's really cool. I wish we had like prepared more. We could have like gotten a little sample or something of like what you first had.
I always say that I need to be like locked in a cabin for like weeks.
Yeah, so you just like Bonnie Bear it.
Go through them, because it's overwhelming. You know,
yes.
I don't have to tell you.
I'll like go through my flights sometimes, and I have
long drives. For me too.
Yeah. I have a bad habit of not naming them, and like it'll be like the name. I just hit 100 of the name of the street that I live on, and I've only lived there like for less than 2 years. So I was like, that's 100 voice memos that over the last 2 years that I just like haven't bothered to name anything. Like, that's really chaotic.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I don't want to say my address on the air, but it's like blah, blah, blah street number 107. It's like, wow, we should figure that out, but that's fine. Okay. So you wrote it after a breakup. You kind of wrote it all in one swoop. And I mean, you said it's about a breakup, but it's really pointed. I mean, I've listened to it a few times. Like, do you want to maybe talk through like what was the emotion there?
Yeah. Well, it's funny now in retrospect too, because we just put this song out last summer. So at that point, it was like, felt like, you know, I had written it 3 years prior.
Right. And
so
pandemic times.
Yes.
Like, that matters, because timing is weird.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's been a weird time warp for sure. So even releasing it last year kind of made me think about it more retrospectively, like, this doesn't necessarily have to be about a breakup, which I think is the cool thing about music, is that it can mean something different for any person who listens to it. So now when I think about it more as like whatever like heartbreak or like depression or like in my head thing that I feel stuck in, that like I always make it through, even if I don't think I'm going to, or even if I don't want to. Like, here we are. So now for me, I think it is more of that. But in the moment and in writing it, it definitely was more about like the detriment of like a breakup and just like feeling lost and a little bit hopeless and like, super alone in the pandemic time of like, what, here I am again. And I'm just in it.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's something that like the pandemic did in so many ways, is like you really couldn't go anywhere else. It's like everywhere you go, there you are, but like times 1,000 with the pandemic, which was like, oh, we were all just kind of like stuck in our houses with our own thoughts and feelings, and like you kind of don't have a lot of places to like hide from your feelings in that way, I guess. What has like, I don't know, it's so, we were talking off air, like just breakup songs in general have to be the most relatable songs, because everyone has gone through them. And I was listening to your song and I just was relating so much, because I really think anyone who has been through a breakup, or like you said, you know, anything that's like, that you're moving on from in some way, or that you have to grieve, like anything that is providing grief, is like deeply relatable. But has there been feedback since you put the song out? Like, do you ever hear people being like, oh, I totally get that? Or like, I don't know. I wonder if you struggle with like, being really honest in songs, and then like what that looks like for the person that it's written about, or like, I don't know, has there been anything since you put it out? Like, do you feel better? Do you feel worse? That's a lot of questions in one question, but.
I feel better. I mean, it's one of my favorite songs that I've put out, and I think that's not only like the song itself, but like I'm really happy with like the production of it and like how the final product sounds versus like how simple it was when I wrote it on acoustic, which I love playing it solo too. But I actually had like that ex reach out to me and like just be like, that song with like the crying emoji, you know, like, so I felt like
did they know it was about them?
Yes. And
did
like,
you tell them, or did they just assume?
No, I think they just knew, and I knew they were gonna know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so, but that is one person that, you know, we're like so much older now than we were when we met, like, you know, 12 years ago or however long that was.
Yeah.
So I actually feel like really good about, like, you know, we'll catch up like once or twice a year.
Yeah.
They live across the country. Like, we were like such a huge part in each other's lives.
Yeah, 8 years is like,
it's like we learned so many lessons that like in the moment you don't realize, but now it's kind of like cool to look back and be like, wow, look at us, we're like older now and got through all of that. And
100%. Also, there's just like some like at a certain point in time, if anyone's in your life for that long, there's kind of is some sort of like permanence where it's like, oh yeah, like watching someone grow up is like kind of a unique experience, I guess. I like feel like I still live in fear of like, I'm like, oh, I can't write this song because I would never want the person to hear it or something like that, which is that's a very bad habit. I don't think that songwriters should be doing that, but I feel like I live in constant fear of like, I wonder if this person knows that this is about them.
I don't remember who this quote is from, but it goes something like, whatever the thing that you're most scared to write, bless you, write that.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I did try to turn my mic off to sneeze and I don't think it worked. Yeah, no, that's like so profound.
Which, I mean, you don't necessarily have to share it, but
yeah, I mean, it's so scary, right? Yeah. Like, it's like the most vulnerable thing that you can do ever. I mean, that's kind of but that also is why it's deeply relatable. That's why that song is deeply relatable. Like, it's very clearly from a point of like tenderness and like real honesty. I really appreciate that about the song. What did the production look like? Did you bring it to your band?
Yeah, so mostly I do the bulk of the writing, and then I'll bring it to the band and just kind of play it through a couple times and then let them add whatever parts, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And my bass player is like really great about being like, what do you think about like a dynamic shift here or like this drum part here or whatever. So it's like a pretty like creatively collaborative process. And we actually recorded right at the Box with Urian on Pine Street.
Nice.
So, yeah.
And did you know like what you wanted the production to sound like going into it? Did y'all play it live and then you recorded it? Like, what did it look like to create that song from, you know, the voice memo on your phone to what it is now?
Yeah. I think we had a pretty good idea of what we wanted it to sound like just playing it so many times together. And then like we added some little things, and maybe we will play the recorded version. I feel for this. I was like, I don't know if I want to play acoustic or the recorded, because you'll hear like just some little things that we added like in the very beginning and at the very end, like this kind of like ringing out like before the song comes in. That was just like we were just kind of messing around with some fun noises and ended up like really loving that.
Totally.
Like fade in and fade out at the end of the song. So just like some little things like that were added, but mainly I feel like we had a pretty good like idea of the parts and
yeah, that's really cool. Well, I think that we should listen to this song, and then what we'll do is we'll listen to the song. I'm gonna play a couple other songs, and we'll get you set up, and then I would love to hear something from you if you'd still like to play something. We can figure that out. Is there anything else about the song that you want to like talk about before we get to hear it?
So
okay, amazing. I'm really excited now. I feel like we've had a build up for sure.
Know.
Okay, great. Well, you're gonna hear I Always Do, and we will be right back after that song and a couple other songs to get you set up. So stick around to hear some live music. I'm so excited for it.
Sweet.
Right, we are back on Are You Okay? Jessie has her guitar. I'm so excited. She's going to play us a song, and then we'll do a little bit of an outro. But do you want to introduce the song?
Sure. My hands are very sweaty, I'll also tell you.
Okay.
Just in case you were wondering. So this song is called Procrastination Queen.
Amazing.
And
wait, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I already kind of have a visual of like the art for it.
It's literally so exciting.
So yeah, I was just telling Emmy off the air that it's one of those songs that I'm like excited about, and sometimes you write bad songs that you don't like or other people like or whatever, but I really like this one and I'm excited about it.
Yay. Okay, I'm so excited. All right, this is Procrastination Queen.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Procrastination queen, will I ever clean my room? I am putting it off again, sitting naked in my bed. At least I'm getting out of my head to write a song. Sometimes I forget what I like to do until I'm doing it. Sometimes I forget what makes me feel good until I'm feeling good again. Procrastination queen, I am learning to lean on my friends when I feel overwhelmed. I know now that it's okay to ask for help, which I have to remind my younger self. Suddenly I remember that it doesn't even matter if I get it done today. Suddenly I remember that I'm gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. Suddenly I remember that it doesn't even matter if I get it done today. Suddenly I remember that it's gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. Procrastination queen, will I ever clean my room? I am putting it off again.
Yes. Oh, that was so amazing. Also so relatable. Thank you so much for playing that. That was, amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, I want you to plug any shows you have coming up. And I also want to know where people can find you if they want to hear your music.
Okay, let's see. Shows. So, June 21st, I'll be at Venetian Soda Lounge with Jay Mullen, solo. We might sing a couple songs together, and they have that beautiful grand piano there, so
Yeah.
I'm trying to push myself to, like, practice my keyboard at home a little bit more so I could do a few songs on that piano, because it's there, so I might as well play it. And then June 28th, I will be at Red Square. Hopefully it's nice out. We'll be in the alley with my 90s cover band.
Nice.
Laser Dad.
Fun.
And then June 29th is JTB, my full band's first show back in a couple months. We'll be at Burlington Beer for Valerie Falls. They're doing their album release show, so we're going to play a set there. So, you can find Jessie Taylor Band on any streaming service. Spotify, Apple Music, Bandcamp is the best.
Yeah.
And one of my really good friends is helping me with a website right now. So hopefully I will have like a better, place to have it all.
Yeah.
Like all the different bands linked and shows, and we're working on some merch and like all that kind of fun stuff. So for now you can find Bandcamp or like find us on Instagram, JessieTaylor.band, and stay tuned for some more like
awesome
practical website.
Amazing. Okay, Jessie, I usually ask people this question before we start chatting, but you and I just like immediately started talking when we got in here. But I always ask every guest that I have if you're okay and if you're doing okay. And I figured I'll just ask it now if that's all right.
Yeah, I feel pretty good right now. Thank you for asking. That
Yeah.
almost brought a tear to my eye.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
No, don't be sorry. That's great.
It's usually like to set the intention and like, you know, before the interview goes on just to see like where the vibes are at, but I just like got carried away with you. I'm so sorry.
No, that's great. Thank you for checking in now. No, I'm feeling great today. I went for a hike. I got to come do this and yeah. So,
amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Are you okay?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, you know, I'm hanging in there. I'm like, actually I am. I've been feeling like so dysregulated for like a long time. But I'm feeling like very okay. I had like a midday therapy session.
Nice.
Which is not usual for me, but I'm like, yeah, I'm totally fine midday. It's totally fine. But yeah, thank you for asking. That's really nice. Well, Jessie, thank you so much for being on Are You Okay? Super appreciate your time. Thanks for sharing your music. Please, everyone go stream I Always Do and Jessie's other music, and definitely go see her play live. And we're going to listen to a couple more tunes for the rest of the hour, but just wanted to say thank you so much, Jessie, for being on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you all for listening.